Good Friday evening, Southeast Texas. Welcome to 12 News Plus. We're going to go into quite a bit of detail over our forecast over the next 7 days and look at the tropics. Obviously, we are marking the 6 years ago that Imelda went inland on the 17th over towards southwest of Houston. And this storm, in some respects, produced heavier rains over portions of the area that even Harvey did back in 2017. 2019, on this date, we picked up extraordinarily heavy and catastrophic rainfall totals across portions of southeast Texas. Let's see, near Fannett, between the 16th and the 21st, over 44 inches of rain fell. A lot of that fell this morning 6 years ago, where we got this training event. Hopefully you understand what training is. You'll have a thunderstorm develop, move off, only to be replaced by another thunderstorm that goes over the same areas. It's like a conveyor belt, and that conveyor belt is a very proficient way of producing catastrophic or torrential rainfall over the same areas. Same thing over towards northeastern Chambers County. This is in excess of 40 inches, as you can see, over towards Fannett and Winnie. There were people trapped on the highway between Beaumont and Fannett and back over towards Winnie for days. A lot of high water rescues. Thousands of homes were lost over into towards Fannett and back over towards Winnie because of that flooding, which extended all the way up into Orange County, as you can see. At least the catastrophic flooding did across Orange, Jefferson, Liberty, and also Chambers County 6 years ago. We had water to the tune of about 8, 9, maybe 10 inches of water even here at our station, and we had to evacuate the station because of all the cables on the ground and had to stop transmitting because of the flooding that was occurring here at the station. Otherwise, beautiful afternoon, and these are fair weather cumulus, meaning that the moisture producing these cumulus clouds is confined to the lowest levels above the surface, and just above this level where the clouds are occurring, the atmosphere is fairly dry, so that's why these weren't able to develop into towering cumulus and produce thunderstorms across the area this afternoon. Looking at clear skies out there now. This view courtesy of Mid-County Plumbing, part of the Roofing 911 Skycam network, and this means fantastic Friday night football forecast across southeast Texas. Tomorrow, though, we'll go with a 20% coverage, minimal rain chances, scattered showers and thunderstorms. This means a little better coverage coming up Sunday at about a 40% coverage and Monday about a 30% coverage. Why is that occurring? Well, it's because the winds are more favorable just above the surface, and just above the surface we have more moisture. At the surface where we live, there's always seems to be moisture during the summertime. It's what goes on above our heads that is important as far as forecasting shower and thunderstorm activity. Then the cold front comes in on Wednesday, and that will bring us scattered to numerous showers and storms, followed by cooler, slightly cooler weather coming up Thursday, maybe a slight chance of showers, and then drier weather coming up on Friday. Our forecast for tomorrow here in the Triangle, lower 90s, a 20% coverage with northeast and southeast winds at 2 to 7 miles an hour. Modeling shows about a 20% coverage. I think it's going to be hotter than the 90 degrees like modeling shows. And then up towards the lakes area, we'll go with highs in the mid-90s, also a 20% coverage. Now, this is going to be a late afternoon type event. Well, I say event. It's going to be earlier in the Triangle because of that's where it's going to be coming from. So later in the afternoon, not so much in the morning, and I think it'll be a better chance up in the lakes, 10 to 20% coverage, and it'll be hotter than what modeling shows. So what I'm doing is I'm showing you my forecast, and I'm showing you what modeling's showing as far as us putting the forecast together. So we think it's going to be hotter than the modeling at 90 degrees. My goodness, they got in the mid-90s today. Why would it be that much cooler tomorrow? I just don't see that happening. It'll be cooler on those low temperatures. And over the next 4 days, we'll see highs at 90 or greater, low to mid-90s. That is still above normal. The cold front comes in on Wednesday, so that'll knock temperatures down because of the chance of rain and thunderstorm activity and cloud cover, and will cool things off for Thursday. Maybe not out of the mid-80s behind this weak front. Friday may see a little bit of sun, so that may knock temperatures back up into the upper 80s. As far as rainfall, just a 20% coverage tomorrow. Sunday, a 40% coverage, back down to a 30% coverage. So that's scattered coming up Sunday and Monday. Ridge of high pressure temporarily kind of noses in ahead of the trough of low pressure, which will bring that cold front into our area coming up on Wednesday. We'll go with about a 50 to 60% coverage with the cold front coming through. And then because of the cloud cover behind upper level low pressure and the trough behind the front, maybe a 20% coverage on Thursday, and then finally I think we'll be dry enough to where we don't go any rainfall coming up next Friday. You'll see that it's on the 7-day forecast. As far as rainfall, modeling's been back and forth, very wishy-washy as far as how much rainfall. I think a half an inch to an inch certainly possible out of this, particularly coming up on Wednesday with that cold front. And again, higher totals are certainly possible in very localized areas. So again, as I've been saying, winds have been blowing the cumulus clouds basically from east to west, paralleling the coastline. That limits shower and thunderstorm activity associated with the sea breeze. If you were able to get these, if the winds were out of the, let me back up. See the winds, see the clouds, everything is moving from east to west, paralleling the coastline. See that? Now, if you get winds off the Gulf from the south and east, that causes lift right along the coastline. Lift creates clouds and the potential for showers and storms that are then pushed further north with those southeasterly winds. I think that's what's going to happen. Our winds change and we get a little bit of favorable moisture profiles in the forecast coming up on Sunday into Monday. And that's why we are going with higher chances. But because the winds have been out of the east, that is not as favorable for producing rain chances, and that's why we didn't see much across the area today. So across the state, we were watching showers and storms earlier today up towards North Texas because of a disturbance. Well, those have decreased and really dissipated, and the reason is because we were talking about this last night, is that there's drier air aloft over southeast Texas, and that's why this activity has weakened. Otherwise, high pressure has pretty much exited the state, and it'll be back as we head towards Tuesday. That's why our rain chances will go down. There's that disturbance, as I was talking about, up into North Texas. That's over our area now, but we just don't have any moisture. Look how dry the atmosphere is on water vapor, and that's the case in through the mid-levels of the atmosphere. That's why we're not seeing a lot on radar, and really don't expect anything out of this because of that upper level disturbance. Otherwise, Futurecast confirms this. Looks quiet tonight as we're looking at temperatures to drop off into the upper 60s in the lakes, mid to upper 60s lakes, and into the low to mid 70s in the triangle. And again, there could be some patchy fog, not in the cities, but pretty much in outlying areas, the countryside. Tomorrow doesn't look like too terribly much. We'll go with a 10 to 20% coverage triangle, late morning, early afternoon hours, maybe mid-afternoon hours. Then we'll move that on up towards the lakes area during the late afternoon and early evening hours. And again, about a 10 to 20% coverage. It's still going to be hot and humid across the area. So there's that disturbance going on by. We'll watch the ridge of high pressure over Mexico attempt to build over our area for Tuesday. But again, favorable wind directions are expected on Sunday and Monday. That should give us scattered showers and storms. This is too slow. It's going to move through quicker and be further to the west as we head towards, say, late Wednesday into Thursday. This is what I have to show you. We are watching a trough of low pressure. This trough of low pressure is going to be further west on Thursday and into Friday. That will give us a lot of wraparound cloudiness coming up on Thursday after Wednesday's cold front. That Wednesday's cold front will bring us a scattering of showers and thunderstorms, and then leftover cloudiness into Friday. Drier air will finally mix in. It'll feel a little better towards next Friday. One thing that is very clear or evident is that if you look at the Gulf, look at the wind shear. That's a lot of wind shear. We're good at least for the next 7+ days. Now, as we head towards, that's probably through the end of the month. I think we're good. Early October, Still going to have to watch that. I don't, just because the calendar says it's October 1st, I don't pronounce the end of the season. Look what happened with Jerry and back in 1989. That was what, the 17th of October in 1989? Look what happened in, let's see, October of 2020 with Delta. Yeah, we're not going to do that. And we are seeing some indication that we may try to get something out of the Caribbean as we head towards the first week of October. That's way out there. But right now, with this shear that is over the Gulf to that tune, you can forget about it. If anything tried to develop, it is going to get torn apart or shunted off towards Florida. And this is through Friday of next week. So we are in excellent shape next week. So no tropical concerns in the tropics, or at least in the North Gulf through at least next week. Look at the, well, I'll be dadgum. Look at that. Look, upper level low. See the turn right there? That means there's shear. It also means there's dry air. Look at the Caribbean, how devoid of cloudiness it is. Yeah, okay, you've got thunderstorms along the land masses, but nothing really to speak of across the Caribbean. That's great. Dry air in the Caribbean plus shear. When you have upper level low pressure, that creates shear. So no problems there. As far as the tropics are concerned, of course, Gabrielle, we're watching that. And this is a big fat X. You can forget about that. This one probably is not going to be an issue. A little bit early to tell, but because the models I look at do something like this, it just depends on where the turn is. I just don't think this is going to be an issue in the next 10 days. So I won't give it an X yet, but I think we're in pretty good shape as far as this goes. Again, nothing expected at least through the next 7 days in the Northwest Gulf. On the Gulf tomorrow, pretty good weather conditions as far as boating conditions are expected. So if you are doing that, don't forget the life preserver and sunscreen, please and thank you. Slightly choppy seas expected tomorrow, and easterly winds at 5 to 10 knots. If you're doing some fishing at Sabine Pass, 3:59 a.m. and 3:05 p.m. your high tides. And again, I'll say it, the days are getting shorter. Look at sunrise now after 7:01 a.m. and sunset right at 7:15. Water temperature 89. Our forecast tonight, again, some patchy fog is possible in outlying areas like the countryside. Not so much in Beaumont, Port Arthur, or Orange. Upper 60s in the lakes. Lower to mid 70s in the Triangle as southeast winds become calm. For tomorrow, again, a 10 to 20% coverage. High temperature should be in the low to mid 90s in your outdoor forecast. That means heat indices not terrible in the low to mid 90s, but the UV index will be very high at 8.8 as we see northeast and southeast winds at 2 to 7 miles an hour. If you are headed up towards Rayburn tomorrow, they continue to lower the lake with the work that's going on there. They're at 157.2 feet right now. We're expecting about a 10 to 20% coverage of mainly late afternoon showers and thunderstorms. So most of the day, certainly in the morning, it looks good up there. Partly cloudy skies expected with highs in the mid 90s. We're talking about 94 with a southeast wind fairly light at 2 to 5 miles an hour. Forecasts are over the rest of the area. Lower 90s in the Triangle. Again, with partly cloudy skies developing in the afternoon and a 10 to 20% coverage. Light northeasterly winds possible in the morning, becoming southeasterly at 2 to 7 miles an hour. Take a look at your weather impact 7-day forecast at 20% coverage for tomorrow. And then Sunday, because of favorable winds and moisture in the atmosphere, it could generate a sea breeze. And that's because of the winds will be perpendicular to the coastline. So sea breeze possibilities coming up on Sunday. Monday, little drying at 10,000 feet, but still favorable winds. So we'll adjust that down to about a 30% coverage. Those highs and lower